babe, are you hungry? Say yeah!
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Digging Up Positivity of this new year. January certainly was a thing, but plenty of good things happened too. Starting off with one of our favorite avians, we will go through some animations and more, and we'll end up with our featurette, TK Wolf, one of the driving forces behind Furs for Life. Before we start with this year's charities, I wanted to give a special note about last year. Every year we release the Furry Charity Index, but with such a huge amount of data, things get overlooked. So without further ado, here are some updates. Further Confusion raised $20,452 for the Billy the Frank LGBTQ Center of Silicon Valley. Team Fastest Furs raised $8,000 for Global Forgiving, and Team Dog Bomb Rhode Island raised $130 and Team Tony raised $5,885 for the ALS Foundation, and Team Fastest Furs raised $9,090 for Trans Lifeline. With these additions, the known total raised by furries worldwide in 2020, despite everything that has been going on, is $533,759.87. The charity index is a continuous work in progress. If you find anything, no matter how big or small, let us know in the comments or in the subscription form in the description. As for 2021, this year had a brilliant kickoff with Flappy New Year, where Adler, Blazon and friends raised $31,311 for Give Kids the World. I was happy to be a part of it, and I even got this amazing jersey. January was also graced with the virtual edition of Further Confusion. This year they raised over $5,500 for Black Girls Code, and you can still donate, so this amount is not final. The fursuiter band known as We Are One is raising money for the ALS Foundation. All the proceedings of their track With You I Can Run Forever will go to Team Smelly Mud, and so far they raised over $400. And For All got inspired by this and decided to do the same thing with their track Bring Us Together. At the moment, both fundraisers are still ongoing. One of the popular broadcasts on the other side of the pond is Radio Rabbithole. They keep on making the fandom a better place, but running such an outfit comes with quite some costs. Costs they cannot avoid. Fortunately, generous donors gave them $1,400 in the last fundraiser to keep the rabbit hopping. It is difficult to imagine for some, but the furry fandom has been around for a long time, and some conventions from back in the days are no longer around, such as Confurence. Scar made a very nice video about the rise and fall of this furcon, of which its influence still can be seen today. When geologists venture off on research trips, usually they look for specific rocks, minerals and fossils. However, in this case, a Californian scientist did not expect to open a volcanic rock in Brazil only to find something that resembled the famous Cookie Monster inside. In the last year, 3D characters have become a lot more popular as many aspects of our fandom made a jump to virtual reality. And with that, of course, the demand of having your own unique 3D avatar. But unlike drawing, you cannot just grab a pen and paper. Especially when it comes down to those dreaded UV maps, you can compare that with the wrapper you find around the chocolate Santa Claus. A while back, I mentioned Mark, who now came up with the SkinEditor to make this all a lot more easy. You can find the links to his work in the description. I love cake and I love Lego. I could not think that I could combine these two. Yet Thabo made a stop motion animation combining these very things. And if ASMR is your thing, there's something for you in it as well. Just don't drop it on the floor afterwards, your kitchen will be a minefield. Animator Felix Colgrave, known for his surrealistic animation, released Throat Notes, a little story about backyard critters you might see in Tasmania. And once again, it's a visual roller coaster ride. His unique style, all done by hand, is extremely time intensive, but the results are lovely and certainly worth to check out, each and every time. Last month, the pilot for Long Gone Gulch was released and was certainly enjoyable to watch. In the western-like land known as the Gulch, Rawhide and Snatch try to be their best at being a sheriff. Unfortunately, the odds are stacked against them, and thanks to their own actions, they are getting in a heap of trouble. The fast-paced animation and the sharp designs really enhance the already bizarre characters. It's a fun watch. I hope their pilot is successful and will be picked up by a bigger network. It is known that the wolves have returned to the Dutch area known as the Veluwe, and last month the entire family of wolves traveled past one of the many hidden cameras of the Dutch Zoogdierenvereniging. Thanks to the new footage, they concluded that 7 cubs are still alive, which shows there's plenty of food around, namely deers and hogs. They were born in 2019 and 2020.
Well, last year TK Wolf was a small guest at the show and to tell us more about Furs for Life. But for now, it's time to get to know the wolf behind the charity a bit more. Hereby, I welcome this month's featurette, TK Wolf. Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
to be here. How you doing?
Doing quite fine, thank you very much. So I was wondering, now it's not that much about Furs for Life, but more about you. How did you get in contact with the furry fandom? How did you end up here?
That's a bit of a journey actually. So originally, I think I found out about furry just like from some tangent interest, like Pokemon and Digimon, and sort of like this kind of tangent to furry art, and ended up seeing some art that kind of was similar, and I just thought it was really cool. I thought it was an awesome idea. I thought the idea of being able to kind of just build like another vision of yourself, a different version of you, is just such a neat idea, and kind of a really cool way to have a fresh start and just explore different sides of yourself. But the funny thing is that despite feeling all of those things, which I think are very core to furry, or at least for many people, I still, I actually didn't really know what furries were. I just knew about the art and the concept and stuff. And I was actually one of those people that was petrified of conventions. I used to be I was terrified of mascots, and from just hearing garbage online, I had these thoughts of like, oh, fursuiters are like these like delusional people. They don't have any like boundaries between reality and whatever, and they're like, I don't want to get anywhere near that. And it wasn't till like a literal decade later, when I was barely convinced to go to my first convention, that I kind of went in really expecting to be creeped out the whole time, and had just a total transformation and shift in my mind after seeing everyone in person and for real, and realizing that like the people who are out there suiting and performing and everything, they're doing it to give people a feeling. They're doing it to entertain. They're doing it to express. They're doing it to like share joy and affection and all these things. And like my whole view flipped on its head, and I just went completely head over heels into furry, into the community. Within a year from there, I ended up getting a fursuit myself, and I started connecting with locals, and it was like such a really cool, awesome new chapter of my life to get into there.
You definitely went in head over heels, and you got so much proper, so well influenced by the fandom. It's like it was a wave of positivity. But then we get into this from a lot of people know you. They don't know you by name, but they do know you from that meme where you stick out
Oh.
your hand.
Ah, ah. So that's an interesting one. A friend of mine who was actually we were housemates at the time. Um, he actually drew that as a gift for me for my birthday back then. Um, and it was it's just really awesome art. And I loved it. And I think sometime around 4 or 5 years after he gave it to me, after he posted it online, um, uh, it just randomly surfaced as this meme of the you know would you take this paw? Would you take this paw? Um, and it didn't stop. It never stopped.
It just
All
went
the
on
time.
and on and on. And I still bump into this meme every now and then, especially from new first. Then you got the typical from, hey, have you seen this meme? I really like it. And you have that personal meme because, well, with foxes, you always have the big question from, hey, do you know about that song about what does the fox say? Which is nice
No,
for the first
no.
10,000 times. Or of course, compare the meerkats with us meerkats. We have that problem too. In the furry fandom, with all those good things going on, we talked about First for Life last time. Do you have any future projects coming up, or something from your bucket list that you really, really, really want to do?
I have a few ideas, and I've really been thinking about like how do I narrow this down and make like at least one thing that that I actually do. Um, so one is pretty simple, which is that I just want to kind of stream more on a sort of regular basis. It's a little bit tough with my job feeling a little bit consuming, um, but I would really like to just stream more, just because just because it's a fun thing to do. I've had some thoughts over things like maybe I can do like furry video game reviews or um, I don't know. I've also been pondering on doing some like VR chat videos because we can like furries have done tons of like skits and videos and comedy with our fursuits. But in VR chat, it kind of opens the door to a lot. You can literally transport yourself to any world. You can have whatever characters pop in and out and do things that you just can't do in real life. So I kind of like the idea of that. If I ever end up, finding a crew of people that kind of want to work on videos together, that could be something really, really cool I'd be super into.
That would be really awesome to see. And well, you know where to find me. I mean, I would love to do something with you. That's as in a collab. That would be great. But with this, you came into the fandom. Yeah, you have it going for you right now. I mean, you got a bright future ahead. Do you have any recommendations for any new people in the fandom?
Yeah, I think I have a few. So, and a lot, of course, a lot of this is based off personal experiences. Everything is different for people. Um, so just consider this a little jumble bundle of advice. um, so for one, like the fandom is really what you make of it. It's too big to be any one thing. It's too big to be any one experience. So really, I think it's just a matter of like surrounding yourself with good people, finding people whose work inspire you or whose attitudes just connect with you, and focusing on that. Um, I think also it's really easy to get exposed to the fandom from like a few really big names and feel like, oh, that's the fandom, that's what I need. But really, it's the individual connections that we make. I've had some conventions where I hide my name tag out of suit and I just talk to someone, and it's really cool and really nice. And you can have that with anyone, and I think it's just a really awesome thing. So there's no shortage of really awesome, wonderful, kind people that you can meet and form bonds with. Um, yeah. Ah.
That is actually a great advice. Plus, the fact that you hide your name tag, you can just start to have a conversation, and everybody is just open to anyone. I mean, I could talk on Eurofurence with animators that worked for Disney, and we would just have a chat under a cup of cocoa, and that was just being us, treating people normally. That's one thing that I do really love. Thank you very much for being with us once more, and I hope that perhaps in the future we might work together some more. I mean, we both game, we have a lot of things in common, and I'd say stay awesome, and thank you very much for being with us on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me and for all the awesome stuff you do.
Thank you so much for sticking with us till the very end, which brings us to these special people, supporter of the channel. Cosmic with a K, Els Dekkers, Falconeo, Hanzana, Ishnula, Kitako, Dendrew McNally, Taros, Score Chaser, and we will return on February 27th, where our featurette is not just horsing around.
Taking the positivity, taking the positivity, taking the positivity, taking